Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv, and we are in Deuteronomy. Also, basically, Moses' last testimony and the last book of the Torah. And we are coming near to the end. There's only 34 chapters in Deuteronomy, and we are in chapter 29 in this video. So, renewal of the covenant. This is basically Moses's, remembrance memorial. Especially things need to be recounted for the people, because remember, he doesn't get to go with them into the promised land. And where we left off in Numbers, they were right on the edge of the promised land, about to cross over. And Moses even asked to be able to go into the promised land, and God basically said, did I stutter? So he let him go look at it from a hill. So verse 29. Chapter 29, verse 1. These are the terms of the covenant the Lord commanded Moses to make with the Israelites in Moab, in addition to the covenant he made with them at Horeb. Moses summoned all the Israelites and said to them, your eyes have seen all that the Lord did to Egypt and Pharaoh, to all his officials, and to all his lands. With your own eyes you saw those great trials, those miraculous signs and great wonders. But to this day the Lord has not given you a mind that understands, or eyes that see, or ears that hear. During the 40 years I led you through the desert, your clothes did not wear out, nor did your sandals on your feet. You ate no bread, you drank no wine, or any other fermented drink. I did this so that you might know that I am the Lord your God. When you reach this place, Sihon, king of Heshbon, Sihon is the name, Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og, king of Bashan, came out to fight against us, but we defeated them. We took their land and gave it as an inheritance to the Reubenites, the Gadites, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Those are the shepherds. Carefully follow the terms of this covenant, so that you may prosper in everything you do. All of you are standing today in the presence of the Lord your God, your leaders and chief men, your elders and officials, and all the other men of Israel, together with your children and your wives and the aliens living in your camps who chop your wood and carry your water. You are standing here in order to enter into a covenant with the Lord your God, a covenant the Lord is making with you this day and sealing with an oath to confirm you this day as his people, that he may be your God as promised, as he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am making this covenant with its oath, not only with you who are standing here today in the presence of the Lord our God, but with those who are not here today. Okay? So, future generations and past generations. You yourselves know how we lived in Egypt and how we passed through the countries on the way here. You saw among them their detestable images and idols of wood and stone, of silver and gold. Make sure there is no man or woman, clan or tribe among you today whose heart turns away from the Lord your God to go worship the gods of those nations. Make sure there is no root among you that produces such bitter poison. Okay? So that's like the Asherah poles and the Baals and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm reading this book. I mean, and I don't know if it's fair to call it a book. It's like it's in a book format, but it's really basically a bunch of historical and archaeological pages that are translated from German into English, so I can read them because my German is very middling at best. Like every so many of those words I might understand, but translated about the Anunnaki, the gods that are in the area. And it starts with just the name Anunnaki. The reason you hear it so often in association with a geological location or even a person's name is because it really just means like An was like their primary god at one point in history. Because this is like as far back as you go in Babylonian history, which is, the peoples in the surrounding areas. There's that. An was the name of God, like the primary god, and Anunnaki is just like the children of An. But it really is sort of ambiguous of the pantheon of a particular family, a particular area, a particular, just sort of, just like the Roman and Greek gods, that same, literally the pantheon, as in they have a multi-god system there. So that really is, really was very much so everywhere, because this is not a multi-god system. This is a mono system. There's a God, the living God. Especially at this point in history here, because the Messiah, we're in the Old Testament, the Messiah is not yet born. We're still building up to that. Verse 19. When such a person hears the words of this oath, he invokes a blessing on himself and therefore thinks, I will be safe even though I persist in going my own way. This will bring disaster on the watered land as well as the dry. Or way in order to add drunkenness to thirst. Okay. The Lord will never be willing to forgive him. His wrath and zeal will burn against that man. All the curses written in this book will fall upon him, and the Lord will blot out his name from under heaven. The Lord will single him out from all the tribes of Israel for disaster, according to all the curses of the covenant written in this book of the law. Your children who follow you in later generations and foreigners who come from distant lands will see the calamities that have fallen on the land and the diseases which the Lord has afflicted it. The whole land will be a burning waste of salt and sulfur, nothing planted, nothing sprouting, no vegetation growing on it. It will be like the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew with a fierce anger. Now, I'm not sure where Admah and Zeboim is, but I do know that on Disney Plus, on the National Geographic part of it, there is indeed, there's two different ones where it's archaeological things, traipsing through the Bible looking for things. And in each one of them, there's only like 1 or 2 seasons at best for any of it. But in one of those, they did find archaeological evidence that is consistent with what is described in the Bible of what Abraham would have seen at a distance. Because Sodom and Gomorrah was up by the Dead Sea, and up by the Dead Sea is where you have those mountains of salt, where it has the pockets of natural gas for it to look like that giant thing of flame. And they did find, an evidence of, where it used to be habitation, but it's basically almost like the people at Pompeii. because it was just covered over from like the ash and the sulfur and the big rolling flame ball. Entirely possible, because there's also petroleum up in that area too to add to the flames. But those natural gas pockets mean that anything can go up in flames like that. Anything making a spark, just like we have to worry about is if you had a gas leak in your house, then anything can make it go off. Same thing. Only they had less education. And, just like here, the natural gas doesn't have smell. We pump smell into it, a sulfur smell for us, so we know when we're in danger in our houses. But when it's in, there's no smell to know it's there before you can set things on fire. Verse 24. All the nations will ask, why has the Lord done this to this land? Why this fierce burning anger? And the answer will be, it is because this people abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their fathers, the covenant he made with them when he brought them out of Egypt. They went off and worshipped other gods and bowed down to them, gods they did not know, gods he had not given them. Therefore the Lord's anger burned against this land, so that he brought on it all the curses written in this book. In furious anger and in great wrath, the Lord uprooted them from the land and thrust them into another land as it is now. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may follow all the words of this law. Because in previous chapters, it's a really big, long, involved, terrible curse that does actually, to some extent, happen because of the dysphoria that happens first with the Assyrians, which takes everywhere of Israel except Judah, and then the Babylonian, which eventually does take Judah as well, and then they are gone for long lengths of time. The Babylonian one, I think they were gone for 70 years before they could come back. Not Egypt long, but long. Okay, so to the next video, friends. Hello, friends. Welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name is Amy, and I'm an ordained minister, and we are in Bible study. We are in the Niv, and we are in Deuteronomy, chapter 30. And that's not really that long of a chapter. We are going to jump in here. It's called Prosperity After Turning to the Lord. This is part of the Torah, and this is Moses who's written this part. It's his last hurrah. And this is also the last book of the Old Testament that is from the Torah. When all these blessings and curses I have set before you come upon you, and you take them to heart wherever the Lord your God disperses you among the nations, and when you and your children return to the Lord your God and obey him with all your heart and with all your soul, according to everything I command you today, then the Lord your God will restore your fortunes, or bring you back from captivity, and have compassion on you, and gather you again from all the nations where he scattered you. Even if you have been banished to the most distant land under heaven, from there the Lord your God will gather you and bring you back. He will bring you to the land that belonged to your fathers, and you will take possession of it. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your fathers. The Lord your God will circumcise your hearts and the hearts of your descendants, so that you may love him with all your heart and with all your soul and live. The Lord your God will put all these curses on your enemies who hate and persecute you. You will again obey the Lord your God and follow his commands I am giving you today. Then the Lord your God will make you most prosperous, in all the work of your hands, and in the fruit of your womb, and the young of your livestock, and the crops of your land. The Lord will again delight in you and make you prosperous, just as he delighted in your fathers, if you obey the Lord your God and keep his commands and decrees that are written in this book of the law, and turn to the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. The offer of life or death. And my speak, I like to liken it to my will to thy will. Yes, heaven. No, hell. So yes, life or no death. Verse 11. Now, what I am commanding you today is not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. It is not up in heaven, so that you have to ask, who will ascend into heaven to get it and proclaim it to us so that we may obey it? Nor is it beyond the sea, so that you have to ask, who will cross the sea to get it and proclaim it to us so that we may obey it? No, the word is very near you. It is in your mouth, and it is in your heart, so that you may obey it. See, I set it before you today, life and prosperity, death and destruction. For I command you today to love the Lord your God, to walk in his ways, and to keep his commands, decrees, and laws. And then you will live and increase. And the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away and you are not obedient, and if you are drawn away to bow down to other gods and worshiping them, I declare to you this day that you will certainly be destroyed. You will not live long in the land you are crossing the Jordan to enter and to possess. This day I call heaven and earth as witness against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God, listen to his voice, and hold fast to him. For the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to give to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, the Lord is the breath of life. Yahweh. Yahweh. The breath of life. Until the next video, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. We are in Bible study. We are in video 2. We are in the NIF. I know that's going to make some people upset. Just patience. We will do other versions of the Bible, and we will compare other versions of the Bible to the NIV. I'm not going to be upset if I don't like the wording in the NIV compared to other versions. I don't really have a favorite version. Well, I have to read more than the ones that I currently have, or the 2 that I have, before I can really decide a favorite. There's 405 versions of the Bible. That's a lot. 2 is not really enough of a sample. Watchfulness is this heading. It's chapter 12 in the book of Luke. We're going to be doing 35 to the end, which looks like 59. So let's jump in. Be dressed, ready for service, and keep your lamps burning, like men waiting for their master to return from the wedding banquet, so that when he comes and knocks, they can immediately open the door for him. It will be good for those servants whose masters finds them watching when he comes. I tell you the truth, he will dress himself to serve. We'll have them recline at the table, and we'll come and wait on them. It will be good for those servants whose master finds them ready, even if he comes in the second, third watch of the night. But understand this, If the owner of the house had known at what hour the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. So you must also be ready, because the Son of Man will come in an hour when you do not expect him. Peter asked, Lord, are you telling this parable to us or to everyone? The Lord answered, who then is the faithful and wise manager who the master puts in charge of his servants to give them their allowance for their proper food allowance at the proper time? It would be good for that servant whom the master finds doing so when he returns. I tell you the truth, he will put him in charge of all of his possessions. But suppose that servant says to himself, my master is taking a long time in coming, and then he begins to beat the manservants and the maidservants, and to eat and drink and get drunk. The master of the servants will come on a day when he does not expect him, at an hour he is not aware of, and he will cut him to pieces and assign him to the place of the unbelievers. So no excuses for treating people crappy while we're waiting for Jesus and just thinking, oh, he'll forgive me later. He's saying, no. You have to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. No right to disrespect other people. It's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, and then it's everybody else. All this, I want to jockey for position and have everybody admire me and the blah, 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 blah. Yeah, come on. Verse 47. That servant who knows his master's will and does not get ready, or does not do what his master wants, will be beaten many blows. But the one who does not know and does things deserving punishment will be beaten with a few blows. So they still get punished, but less if you unknowingly did something. From everyone who has been given much, much will be demanded. So if he blesses you with plenty, it's because you're supposed to give to others, not to hoard it for yourself. And from the one who has been entrusted with much, much more will be asked. If he gives you positions of power, you are exposed to be worthy of that position. It's not an excuse to abuse people with your power. You're supposed to be using that power to help others. Not peace, but division. Verse 49. I have come to bring fire on the earth, and how I wish it were already kindled. But I have a baptism to undergo, and how distressed I am until it is completed. Do you think I came to bring peace on earth? No, I tell you, but division. From now on, there will be 5 in one family divided against each other, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son, and son against father, mother against daughter, and daughter against mother, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, and daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. People are going to fight over religion within their family. And that indeed would happen, because there were Jewish people who converted to Christianity. But then that meant they would have Jewish relatives that are going to have a problem with that. And I have to tell you, it's a very big thing, because their religion is heavy part. Their religion is what with the genetics is what's supposed to make them God's chosen children. So this is basically like divorcing your parents. So it's huge. It's a huge deal. And he's not wrong. It is what happens in the future. Interpreting the times. Verse 54, because he's the Messiah, so he's never wrong, because he's the Messiah. That's what, He said to the crowd, when you see a cloud rising in the west, immediately you say it's going to rain, and it does. And when the south wind blows, you say it's going to be hot, and it is. Hypocrites! You know how to interpret the appearance of the earth and the sky. How is it that you do not know how to interpret this present time? Why don't you judge for yourselves what is right? As you are going with your adversary to the magistrate, try hard to be reconciled to him on the way, or he may drag you off to the judge, and the judge turn you over to the officer, and the officer throw you into prison. I tell you, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny, which Greek for lepton. I'm going to say what that last part is really saying is, you know what's easier than drama? Peace. Peace is way easier than drama. It's better when to apologize like immediately, or as soon as you feel, when you realize that you should, to someone, and sort of do it when you realize you're wrong. Do it with the right intention, no matter what their response will be. Because if they have a negative response, leave them alone. Then walk away. Be at peace. Destructive energy is a waste of your time. You can't be building and destroying at the same time unless you first are destroying so you can build. Now, I am in the design end of construction, so sometimes we do need to demolish what's there and remove what it is and make the space ready to build new. So destruction is part of life. But if you're going to go out and be aggressive with people, you're going to create drama and chaos. If you're going to go out and be in your ego, you're going to create drama and chaos. And if you're doing that, something is wrong in here. You're wounded and you're acting immature. Vocalize. That's how we get rid of bitterness. Whether you say it to the person, you write it in a journal, whatever works for you, for your emotional expression. But everyone needs emotional expression somehow. And it's okay to keep it private. You don't have to share it with the world. That's the beauty of journals. If you're having disruptive thoughts, maybe try writing them down. I like to crumple them up, throw them in the fire. If that doesn't work for you, because maybe fire is a no, you could also rip it up into tiny little pieces and flush it down the toilet too. Away with these nasty thoughts. They are from Satan. There's a lot of different ways, but, it's better to try to find the compromise than it is to stay in a place of unrest. But if compromise can't be found, then get yourself out of that place of unrest. Minimally. It's not good for you up there, and that means it's not going to be good for you in here either. Until a few minutes from now, friends. Hello, friends, and welcome to Adventures in Pixieland. My name's Amy. I'm an ordained minister, and we're in Bible study. We're in the Niv. We're in Psalms book 3. We're in Psalm 78, which has 72 verses. And we're totally not trying to do that all in one video. We're not even trying to do that in 2 videos. In this video, we're doing verses 1 through 31. And you'll have to come back to the next video to find out how the psalm ends. It's a maskil of Asaph. O my people, hear my teaching. Listen to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in parables. I will utter hidden things from of old. What we have heard and known, what our fathers have told us. We will not hide from their children. We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, his power and the wonders he has done. He decreed statutes for Jacob and established the law in Israel. He commanded our forefathers to teach their children so that the next generation would know them, even the children yet to be born, and they in turn would tell their children. Then they would put their trust in God and would not forget his deeds, but would keep his commands. They would not be like their forefathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation whose hearts were not loyal to God, whose spirits were not faithful to him. The men of Ephraim, though armed with bows, turned back on the day of battle. They did not keep God's covenant, and they refused to live by his law. They forgot what he had done, the wonders he had shown them. He did miracles in the sight of their fathers in the land of Egypt, in the region of Zoan. He divided the sea and led them through. He made the water stand firm like a wall. He guided them with a cloud by day and with a light from the fire by night. He split the rocks in the desert and gave them water as abundant as the seas. He brought streams out of a rocky crag and made water flow down like rivers. But they continued to sin against him, rebelling in the desert against the Most High. They willfully put God to the test by demanding the food they craved. They spoke against God, saying, "Can God spread a table in the desert?" When he struck the rock, water gushed out, and the streams flowed abundantly. But can he also give us food? Can he supply meat for his people? When the Lord heard them, he was very angry. His fire broke out against Jacob, and his wrath rose against Israel, for they did not believe in God or trust in his deliverance. Yet he gave a command in the skies above and opened the doors to the heavens, and he rained down manna for the people to eat. He gave them the grain of heaven. Men ate the bread of angels. He sent them all the food they could eat. He let loose the east wind from the heavens and led forth the south wind by his power. He rained meat down on them like dust, flying birds like the sand on the seashores. He made them come down inside their camp, all around their tents. They ate their fill until they had more than enough, for he had given them what they craved. But before they turned from the food they craved, while it was still in their mouths, God's anger rose against them, and he put to death the sturdiest among them, cutting down the young men of Israel. Do not test the Lord your God. Don't get pushy. Remember, he doesn't really need us. We need him.